Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. Okay, so in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the independence and the fighting spirit of those of you who have Mars located within the first house within your natal birth chart, but it's also going to resonate for those of you who have an Aries rising, so definitely stay tuned if you have either of these placements within your birth chart, okay? However, before we do get started, make sure that you give this video a like if you like it. Also make sure to subscribe if you have not already, and to of course click that little bell icon in order to keep yourself updated with further content from myself. And one more quick thing to mention here, and that is just to let you know that I have my own merchandise store, so definitely feel free to go to my Teespring if you're interested in picking up a piece today if you would like. Okay, all right then, so with all of those introductions out of the way, Mars in the first house and Aries rising individuals, let's do this. Okay, so I just want to firstly start off this video by saying make sure that you look to both your Aries house and your Mars house for more of an insight into how Mars just manifests for you overall. So if you're watching this and you've got Mars in the first house, then look to your Aries house, or if you're watching this and you've got an Aries rising, then look to your Mars house. Blah blah blah. Anyways, I also recommend looking to your Scorpio house as well, because of how Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio within astrology. Right, so with all that out of the way, if you have Mars in the first house or if you have an Aries rising, then what this suggests is that you're a highly independent and self-assertive person. You know that song by Chipmunk? I think he changed his name to just Chip on its own, but yeah, you know that song by Chipmunk featuring Chris Brown called Champion? Yeah, that's a pretty clear melody or a depiction of the type of person that you may very well be. So this whole notion of being a fighter, being strong, being a pusher, being a doer, someone who doesn't give up easily, somebody who drives forward with the intention of winning, with the intention of reaching a certain goal. And so for you, you're most likely, you're always making sure that you're 2 steps ahead of the game, you know, you're 2 steps ahead of everybody else, you're 2 steps ahead of the curve. So in this respect, you're certainly not a follower. You're not typically someone who follows the herd. No, because it's you who is a leader. You follow your own map of life, and at times you might feel just baffled by others who don't. And so for you, Mars in the first house, Aries rising individuals, independence here is key. Independence is a huge part of your journey. It's a huge lesson. And when you get knocked down along your path, you get right back up, okay? You get right back up and you fight. In fact, you probably fight even harder than you did before, okay? With every time you get back up, you keep pushing and fighting. And you especially fight for your independence and for your freedom. Now, of course, what I'm saying here, it can also depend. It can depend on many factors. So looking at the Mars sign, you know, looking at aspects to Mars, of course, because, right, it could very well be that some of you actually struggle to assert yourselves. Some of you might struggle to take the road that you have your eyes set on, or you might find it challenging to stand up and declare what it is that you want out of life, or how to stand up and to declare who you are. Then again, perhaps for some of you, your independence, it hasn't really came, or it doesn't come all that easy due to other people's opinions, other people's expectations and their rules and their regulations, and really just looking at societal conditions, right? Maybe as you push forward, you get pushed back, but these things, they still don't stop you from feeling that burning fire, right? There's a burning flame, this burning fire within your stomach to get the thing that you want, or to go after that thing that you have your heart set on, and you do it with such a passion. Though regardless here of the actual aspects in the sign, we are still noticing this powerful drive within you, really, to fight for the things that you want in life. And we are noticing this bold and this brave and also this daring quality to you that just has this thirst to do your own thing, even in the face of danger. Which, following on from this point, you might kind of be prone to accidents and many falls throughout your life. You might have been the child who climbed up really, really high onto things, or, like on apparatus and stuff. Or you might have been a child who often would hurt yourself constantly due to getting into fights and all sorts of havoc. Kind of reminds me of myself, okay? Now, bear in mind, I don't have Mars in the first house, I don't have an Aries rising, but I do have an Aries moon. And when I was a baby, I once climbed out of my cot and I fell and I broke my arm, but yet I never cried. Didn't cry. It was only the next day that my parents, they realised this about me, because as my dad went to hand me a spoon, my hand or my wrist just kind of flopped over. So there's that, which, come to think about it, you might actually be the types of people who you have a very get up and go type of attitude, alright? So maybe as children, if you ever fell or if you hurt yourself, kind of similar to my situation here, maybe you just have this attitude of, walk it off. And that factor, that aspect could also factor into other parts of your life as well, where maybe there's blows that you take, but you can have this very quickness to overcome those blows. Maybe you had a lot of bruises or cuts or burns growing up due to your many accidents, or you may very well have a scar to tell the tale of a very serious accident that you were in. And like I said, you might have gotten into a few fights growing up, specifically with other children who tried to pick on you, or especially with children who tried to pick on your friends. And even into your adult years, you're a defender, Mars in the first house, Aries rising individuals. You're a protector of your friends and of your loved ones. You're a protector and you're a defender of those who you feel need protection, who need to be defended. Seriously, if you ever sense that someone is being rude or mean to someone that you care about, you will most likely step in. Though how you go about doing this really can depend, again, upon the sign aspects, like I said. But if those that you really like or those that you love are being attacked, there's this sort of instinctive thing. There's an instinctive quality that just kicks in where you're ready, okay? You are ready to fight. On the other hand though, please be aware of your tendency to create trouble or to cause distress between you and others. See, you might sometimes rile people up to get a reaction out of them, or you may rile them up if at any time you feel like they need to be put in their place. So this could be something as small as just jumping into action after discovering a piece of information that you feel must be dealt with right now, right this second. Or this could be something as huge as confronting someone really aggressively who caught you on a really, really bad day, possibly resulting in someone getting hurt either emotionally or physically. So looking at the likes of violence here. Essentially, there can be times whenever you just see red, and then before you know it, you've done something that you cannot physically take back. Which, following on from this point, you could also have the tendency of burning your bridges, just overall. Where you do something without thinking about the consequences, but yet it's impossible to return to an earlier stage. So for example, you might leave a job on really bad terms, resulting in you not being able to return, like, ever. Or you might destroy a certain relationship or a partnership only to realize that you'll never get it back. However, on the flip side of this, What I will say is that it's also you who is courageous enough to end or to ruin something that actually needs to be ended. It needs to be ruined. And when things do come to an end in your life, you're typically the types of people who are very, very good at just moving forward without looking back. Again, though, sign aspects also need to be taken into account, but the intention, it still seems to be present here. Though speaking of finishing things, completing projects may not be your strong suit. That's not to say that you can't, it's just that you have this eagerness and this excitement to try new things in life. So you might start something and then along the way you jump into something completely different, or you start something else. And to be honest, if you want to start that new thing, you'll start it regardless of what others have to say about it. And I think that this is also something that your loved ones should accept about you, because it's you, Mars in the first house, Aries rising individuals, who's going to make your own decisions. Even if it goes for a very long time where you're not, there's still going to be this inner you that needs to sort of break out and do it, you know, to start the thing, or to make that certain choice within your life, or to make that leap. Hell, the whole world could even be telling you to not do that thing that's really dangerous and really reckless, but then you go and you do it anyway. And you are I would say with this, you're most definitely a very headstrong type of individual. But the thing about this as well is that on one hand, you'll go for that goal and you'll win, right? You might win, and even if you don't win, well, you might realize that it's not for you anymore. And so with this, you'll still learn many valuable lessons from the experience. But on the other hand, you could go for the goal and then completely fail, right? But then you might possibly find yourself from this in an extremely toxic and dangerous situation involving the likes of violence and things that honestly, I don't really want to mention here, but you can use your own imagination as to what I'm saying. Now, if you feel, you can still learn from the experience, but there might be situations that you get yourself into that can really set you back. But remember, it's also you who doesn't like being set back. So in these types of situations, they will very much force you just to think things through a little bit more, or just to be a bit more patient when it comes to the decisions and choices that you make throughout your life. Now, the good thing about this is that as you do age, as you mature, you might find that you become more steady, where you're not as likely to act on your impulses. But also, what I want you to keep in mind is that what I'm saying is also part of your personality, you know, it's part of your character, and this is what makes you you. It's what makes you independent. It's what makes you a fighter, a warrior. So sure, you might have battle scars, let's just say, but it's these scars that tell many stories, no matter how treacherous or how risky or how downright stupid these stories make you appear to other people. So yeah, to some people, right, they might view you as someone who is thoughtless, careless, inconsiderate. They might view you as someone who doesn't think things through. They might look at you as a person who doesn't know how to control your urges and your impulses. They might laugh at you and think that there's no way that you could do that thing, as if. But to others, they may see you as a pioneer. They may see you as a trailblazer, as someone who is daring and brave and courageous, as someone who fights for what you want, regardless of the result at the end. They might see you as this person who stands up. You stand up even whenever most of the world chooses not to stand. And they also might see you as someone who is passionate and energetic and just geared towards taking action upon the many goals that you have. And so in this way, you might actually inspire others with your fighting spirit. People could very well follow your lead. Like I said, you're a leader, Mars in the first house, Aries rising individuals. You know, maybe growing up you were forced to be. Perhaps your parents, they really pushed on you to do things for yourself. sort of instilling the message of being independent here. And if you're someone with either of these placements whose parents were threatening or combative, perhaps you sought to take charge of your own life by creating an action plan to get out. Either way though, there seems to be a really strong message here catered towards independence and standing on your own 2 feet. And so you strive for independence within all aspects of your life. And there's certainly no waiting around for things to happen either. No, you're typically someone who initiates the action, or you prefer to get out in front of the thing that is about to happen, further suggesting that you can be pretty upfront, pretty direct as a person, which people can sometimes shy away from. You know, maybe people can feel intimidated by this. Then again, some people might actually view your forthright personality as something to be respected. I mean, in a world where so many people don't really speak up out of fear, some would say that your cut to the chase type of attitude is quite endearing and it's brave. Though again, maybe the sign and the aspects come into play here. Though, not to mention, you're also typically somebody who is a self-starter. So you're not the type of person who just waits around for somebody else to start something. You'll simply go ahead and do that thing because, well, you want to. Again, these qualities, they can be really inspiring to many. Though on the other hand, you can sometimes get really frustrated if you ever feel like other people are copying you, or if they're maybe doing the same thing that you're doing. So leading into a bit of competitiveness. Don't get me wrong, healthy competition can be really good, but at the same time, just maybe be aware of the tendencies of things becoming competitive in a very unhealthy way. Though, I suppose the last thing I just want to mention is how you're typically someone who seizes the day, right? You might see each and every day as an opportunity to achieve your goals and to reach your targets, and you might also compete with yourself as you try to outdo yourself. Now, I will say here that on one side of this suggests that you're an energetic person, you're someone with a ton of energy to burn, and you like to keep yourself on the move, which is great. But on the other side of this, there might be times whenever you just push yourself just past your limits, resulting in the likes of a burnout, where you then become drained for a while. Then again, maybe this is part of your process. It's just part of your process. So going at something really quickly with a lot of speed as you reach those short-term goals, but then as soon as you hit them, you just kind of sit back for a little while, and then boom, you're right back at it again. Though to be fair, again, it could also depend on the sign, because for some of you, you might actually struggle to reach your short-term goals. You might even struggle to know what exactly your goals and what your motivations are in life. Maybe that can be a bit of a difficult thing for you. Heck, you might find it difficult to even get out of bed in the morning. But that passion, okay, that strive for something that's lights your fire, you know, that passion and that motivation and that fired up intensity, that still wants to come through. It's still there, burning within your stomach, along with the desire to tackle each and every day and to live for each and every moment. Then again, perhaps for some of you, you try your very best to ram, you know, like, yeah, ram Aries. You try your best to ram so much in a very short period of time. So then the next thing you know, you're making mistakes, or you're butting heads with others due to you feeling frustrated and irritated. So it's this whole attitude of, I've got this, you know, so I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and if anybody gets in my way, may God have mercy on their soul. Yeah, if things get to this point, it might be good just to, you know, take a breather, chill out for a little bit. Though to be fair, I do get it, because when you're in that moment, there's no talking to a headstrong person such as yourself. It's hard to bring awareness to the situation where you think, do I need to do all of this stuff? Can it maybe wait for another time? Ultimately though, here, Mars in the first house, Aries rising individuals, you are self-motivators, and you certainly don't require another person to come along to tell you, hey, you know, get your ass in gear. You are driven, you're bold, you're courageous, and you're self-assertive. And even though there may be times whenever you land yourself into trouble, times whenever you could come across as defensive and as aggressive, well, it's also these things that don't take away from the qualities about you that fight for what you want. As you stand up, you willingly stand up for the underdog, and you stand up for yourself, you know, without expecting, you do not expect anything in return. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video on the independence and the fighting spirit of those of you who have Mars located within the first house within your natal birth chart, but also for those of you who have an Aries rising. Now, if you happen to have any of these placements, then definitely let us know what you thought of the video in the comment section down below. That would be very helpful. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And of course, if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then make sure that you click that subscribe button and give this video a like, remember. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!